It's wonderful that you are here today. Welcome to our Ditch Your Self-Sabotage and Create Your Dream Career and Lifestyle this year. This workshop is going to be so amazing for you today and for me to be able to share this with you because I know what this can mean for you in your life, in your career, in every aspect, really, when you're able to get rid of the stuff that limits you. So I'm going to share my screen with you today. I'm going to do a few things to make sure that you have an epic experience. But I'd really love if you can just drop into the chat box where you're zooming in from today so I can get to know you and see where you're coming from today. Just let me know. That would be great. We've still got more people entering the waiting room. That's amazing. So many people registered for today's event. This topic is so relevant for people, really, this self-sabotage, because everyone does it. I'm going to talk to you about what that is today. But yeah, let's just, before we get into it, love to hear a bit more. Okay, Melbourne, New Zealand, amazing. Definitely England, amazing, fantastic. Oh, it's so great to have all of you here today. Some people I've met before, others are new. It's wonderful that we're all gathering. Like-minded people, right? Wanting to create our best lives, live our best lives. So I really want to acknowledge you because it's a Saturday, right? Saturday morning. You could be anywhere else doing anything else. Friday evening for over there in England. And I'm not sure if I've seen anyone come in from the US yet, but we've got some people registered there. So you're investing your time in yourself by being here today. So I just really want to acknowledge you because you know, how we do the little things is how we do everything, right? This is about how do you spend some time for you so that you can create more of what you love in your life. And I just think that's amazing. So just give yourselves a round of applause and give each other, right? Just encourage each other because, you know, this is what community is all about. When you're connecting with people who are on a similar journey to you, supporting each other and encouraging each other so you don't feel like you're all alone doing it. Is a really valuable aspect of community. So let's do that. Hey, let's keep it going in that way. Now, if we haven't met before, sorry, just getting my tech issues sorted here. If we haven't met before, I'm Janine. I am a career woman myself, passionate about living my best life. I love traveling. I have two tween boys who keep me very busy and help remind me that I'm also a life juggler. I'm a career coach for women creating their best careers and life. And I'm a founder of an international coaching business that actually is dedicated to doing that. So helping people really discover their purpose, their passion, fulfill their highest potential and create lives and careers that they love. And I'm so happy to be sharing what I'm going to do with you today because that's what we're here for, right? This is to help you figure out how you can get rid of what's in the way of you creating your best life, your best career, your highest potential, right? So I'd love to just share with you that we're going to try and make this, you know, as epic as we can today. I'm going to give you as much value as I can in the time that we have together. We've got about 90 minutes. And as you can probably already tell, I talk quickly because I want to give you as much as I can in the time that we have. And for those who may want to continue the conversation, I'll share a bit about that in a moment. But really, to make it epic, I want to make this engaging for you. So like I said, I'm going to share some concepts. We're actually going to do some interactive work. So I'm going to get you into breakout rooms. I'm also going to take a few occasions during the session today to ask you some questions and really dig in, because what I'd love for you to be able to achieve today is some shifts, some transformations within so that you can start applying those in your life and create some transformations in your outside world. So I invite you to keep your cameras on, please, so I can see your wonderful faces. Tanya, who has been letting you all into the waiting room here. Tanya is our crew here today, helping and supporting, making this event epic for you. So if you've got questions or comments, then she's going to take care of you there in the chat box while I'm focused on giving you as much content and concepts and transformations as I can. Just keep yourselves on mute also, just to make sure that as we have the flow happening. And if you do have questions, like I said, pop them in the chat box. I'd really invite you to pretend it's just you and me one-on-one today, because, you know, when we're in a one-on-one kind of conversation and I ask you a question and imagine you gave me a blank face and you gave me nothing back, that would kind of be a bit uncomfortable for both of us. So let's imagine it's just you and me. And when I ask a question, you respond, right? This is the way that you can contribute to making this a really engaging session so that you get maximum value out of today. Because like I said, I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to do some activities to help you make some shifts around self-sabotage, some realizations for yourself, and then start to use this in your life. Okay. Another way I want to make it epic for you today is the 3 gets. So you may be wondering, what are those 3 gets, Janine? Well, the first is make sure you've got the tools, right? Have you got something to write on and write with? Because you're going to want to take notes today. And I'm going to ask you to take notes because this is how you get out what's in your head and in your heart onto paper so you can start doing something with it. The second get is to get rid of anything that is going to be a distraction for you today. So if it buzzes, flashes, or beeps, turn it off on silent or get rid of those distractions so that you can really focus and invest this time in you today. Because like I said earlier, how we show up, how we invest in ourselves, how we do the little things, like an hour and a half with me today, is how do we do everything for ourselves? And prioritizing this as an investment in you is a really important intention that you can create for yourself today. The third get I want to explore with you today is getting in the right state for learning, to get the most out of this, to receive the most value for yourself today. And what I want to share with you is about, how the high vibe energy of somebody who's actually rocking out, living their best life, right? Living their dream career. You think about the kind of people, the kind of traits of those people. High vibe energy is one of those traits, right? Let me hear from you. What else would a person who's absolutely rocking out, drop it in the chat box if you can. What would be some traits of a person who's absolutely rocking out, living their best life, their dream career, their dream life? What would they be doing? What would they be doing? High vibe energy. They wouldn't be passengers, right? They'd be participants. They would be sharing their ideas. They'd be commenting. They'd be open to learning. They'd be having some aha moments. People who are rocking out, living their best life also have high personal power, right? Trusting their skills. Yes, they are trusting of themselves. High personal power, and trust is a big one for that. Thanks, Zoe. Personal power is about being decisive, right? Trusting themselves. That's a big part of it, right? They take the information they need and they make a decision on that. And then they change their mind slowly. So there's a lot of research out there that has said that successful people around the world need only about 50 to 70% of the information to make a decision. And then they make a decision quite quickly with that. And once they've made the decision, they change their mind slowly. So be decisive, right? The second attribute of somebody who is rocking out, living their best life, has high personal power. They take action. They're not here to gather information. They want transformation, right? You can scour the net and keep gathering information, but what you do with it, right? Taking action is where the power is. And to give you an example about that, think about when you were learning to swim, or for people who don't know how to swim, if you're learning to swim, you may be watching YouTube, reading it, getting a coach, or somebody to help you, teach you some concepts, but you can't actually learn how to swim until you get in the water. So taking action, right? The third aspect of someone who's rocking it out, they're focused, right? They are orienting their focus and they have control over that. And they also have high personal responsibility because they know if they want this dream, it's up to them to do something with that, do something about that. So I would really invite you all, and I'd love you to give me a show of hands, please, because I really want your intention today to help make today epic for you. Just give me a show of hands that if you are ready to have a dream life, then you're going to rock up today as somebody who's already got those attributes. Because if you aren't being it, you won't see it. You can't wait for it to come and then you're going to feel the high vibe and then you're going to have the high personal power. You've got to bring the high vibe and bring the personal power and the personal responsibility to create what you want. So just give me a show of hands, ladies. I'd really want to take this point because this is you informing your subconscious mind. This is about you telling your mind what you want to have, and intentions are really powerful. And like I said, people who want this, who are rocking it out, they're not passengers, they're participants, and actually they're probably leaders. So let's be that today. Amazing. Okay, so the other thing I want to take care of today to make this epic for you is I want to extend For those people who are really interested in listening or finding out more about this, I'm going to extend an invitation later on for people to chat with me one-on-one. So if you think that you are going to be one of those people who make your decisions quickly and take action on that, we're going to actually drop a call link in probably earlier than later. Tanya might do that for you now, so that when you're ready, or if you're ready, you can take up one of those spots. I've reserved some time over the next few days to have a chat with some people about where they're at in their career and how they want to create their dream version of success for themselves. So, but we'll revisit that later on. What we're going to do right now, I just want to just check in with you too. You know, if you're cool with that, I am going to talk about that later. So, great, awesome. Right, what I'd love to do right now is do what I said before: is make this interactive for you. We're going to get you into breakout sessions, and it's only for a few minutes. And what I'd love you to do is just to share who you are and what you're looking forward to about today. And in particular, you know, what sparked your interest about the topic of this session, and share that with the other people in the breakout room. The power of community and the power of sharing is really incredibly important in creating transformation for yourself. So wonderful. I'm sure it was fabulous to meet some other people on the journey, and it's wonderful. I'm sure you had a lovely share in there. I would love to meet all of you one-on-one individually, but obviously it's when you're on a session with 30 other people, that's a bit challenging. So it's really great that you're able to do that sharing. Now, I don't know why you showed up today. I'm sure there's a really good reason. And some of them that I've experienced personally, and certainly through my client groups, have, you know, people have decided that they are wanting to feel more inspired and motivated and engaged about their day so they can love their career again, but they're stuck feeling like they're in maybe a 9 to 5, or let's face it, it's more like 8 to 6 these days or beyond, long days doing work that they're not loving. Or maybe that you're wanting to be able to do something that feels soulfully fulfilling as well as financially fulfilling, more meaning and purpose for you, but maybe you're feeling a bit disconnected with the work that you're doing, or, you know, sayings I've heard from people say, I'm going to work making big business bigger, and that's not feeling soulfully fulfilling to them. Or maybe, and I work with a lot of people in industries that have a big impact on our planet, and they want to make a positive impact. And maybe that's what you're wanting, but you're not sure how, and you don't know that you've got the skill sets perhaps to turn your gifts into a business, or take your career and employed as an employee into leadership or some other version of that. Or maybe you've had a really great experience so far, and things have been evolving organically and you want to go from good to great, but you know that you've made some good decisions so far and you don't want to make a mistake at this next stage of your career, or you need some help really trying to figure that out because you want to make some conscious choices. And let's face it, if you're at this stage in your career, and I think most of you have been in your careers for some time now, you know, you've got some responsibilities in life, right? Got a mortgage to pay, maybe you've got kids, school fees, etc. So there's some expectations and responsibilities that you have to take care of, and making a mistake can feel a bit scary. Or perhaps you have jumped into doing mode. Maybe you're sending your CV out, or you're getting out there and trying to connect with people, but you're not getting the right kind of bites, or maybe you're not getting any bites and you're not sure why, and it's really frustrating. Or this one is the deeper question, right? Maybe you're starting to realize that there are some patterns that have been existing for you, showing up, either the same sort of people, different names and faces, but the same traits that trigger you, and you're finding it difficult to relate to those people, or maybe even influence them. Or same situations keep recurring, and you're realizing that there's perhaps the patterns are happening outside of you, but maybe there's some shifts that need to happen within you so you can deal with these challenges that seem to keep reoccurring for you. So you might have been told, and in my opinion, the being told is part of the problem that gets people to this crossroad where they don't quite know what to do next, or maybe they have an idea about what they'd want to do but don't know how to do it. Maybe you've been told that, you should stick with what you know. Better the devil you know, that's one that's common. Or just go for it, try something else, high risk if you don't have a strategy to put that in place. Go for the promotion. This is one that if you're employed and you've been employed for a company for quite a while, and they think you're doing great, somebody's always sort of tapping you on the shoulder and shepherding you in a direction. You're not sure actually if you want that direction though, and don't know how to say no. Or maybe you should go start your business because you're a whiz at what you do, but you're not sure how. or get more qualifications. It'll open doors, but to what and what next? Or just quit, change companies, leave those people, leave that boss, leave that team, etc., and hope that the next place is better. Or this one that breaks my heart is that it's just a job. Maybe you should go focus on something else outside of work. I don't believe it is just a job, because I look at life like a three-legged stool, and career is one of those legs. A three-legged stool doesn't stand up on its own if only two legs are stable, right? But the career leg is something that we all need to earn some money to live in our life. And wouldn't it be better if you were doing something that you love, so that the work that you're doing feels effortless and enjoyable and purposeful and meaningful? The other two legs are your mental, spiritual, emotional, physical well-being. And the third leg is your life, the things that enrich your life, right? Your relationships, your hobbies, your finances, etc. But if you don't have a plan or some sort of way of taking care of all three of those legs, and if one of those legs get a bit wonky, then the three-legged stool doesn't stand up on two legs. It eventually falls over. And so if you've got one leg, like the career leg, that's a bit shaky right now, you might start to see implications into those other two legs of the three-legged stool. You might be thinking, though, that I'm supposed to work this way, this learned version of success. Maybe that's what you've been following. And I do know that a lot of people experience that. We're going to talk about what that is in this session today. Or maybe you've developed this belief that, or maybe you've acquired this belief, right, that you can't do what you love and have the financial reward. You've got to choose one or the other. You can't have the family harmony and a successful career. You've got to choose one or the other, or you can't have, the joyful rewards and the money that goes with it. Or maybe there's a deeper limit within you, is that you don't feel like you can share your real self or your real message, what your truth is, for fear of judgment or rejection, or people not taking it the right way, or, it impacting on your success. And so perhaps for you that right now there's a lot of confusion. Potentially, you might be feeling a lot of stuff going on inside you, that you want something different for yourself, but the thinking is getting in the way. And that is what we're going to talk about in terms of self-sabotage today. There are massive shifts happening in the world, and you may have heard some of these statements, right? Quiet quitting, people just checking out. They're staying in their jobs because they need the paycheck, but they're leaving. And sadly, there's a lot of leaders that are doing this at the moment, right? They're there, but they're not really there. The great reshuffle here in Australia, and during the last couple of years, obviously 3 years now probably, it's been massive shifts for people, especially in Australia, and towards the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022, over 1 million people changed their jobs. And according to the ABS. And in the US, over an 18-month period, the back end of 2021 and into 2022, 4 million people left their jobs every month in the US. And people are searching for more meaning and purpose. They're really paying attention to what really matters to them. And often when you have a health crisis, a financial crisis, a relationship crisis, an identity crisis, there's something that triggers you to say, hey, what really matters to me? And that is the big shift that is happening. And that may be something that resonates for you now. I'd love to just hear from you if you've got comments, if any part of that is resonating for you, that something's going on within you or around you that's made you show up today. I'd love to hear from you in the chat. Let me share with you a truth, right? You are, a figure that's going to help understand where you're at, right? This is an S-curve. For those of you who have seen this before, or seen an S-curve before, at the beginning of your career, down at the bottom of that S-curve there, you're new, you're starting out, you're asking lots of questions, and you're adding value, you're learning lots. And as you go up the S-curve, you're still growing, you're expanding your value. Maybe the people are coming to you now to answer the questions. You're still feeling like you're learning and growing and you're putting your stamp on things, but eventually you get to a plateau at some point in your career, and you may be feeling like you're at that now. And what happens at that plateau, if you haven't done so before you arrive at it, is you start to think about what's next, right? I call this the risk zone, right? This is the amber zone. Certainly, if you haven't done anything about it and you don't have the answers, it becomes the red zone really quickly. And when you're at that plateau, you're trying to figure out how what are you going to do next and where you're going. But if you can't, the slippery slope occurs for you, you end up sliding down the other side. And what shows up there is low motivation, disengagement. Maybe you feel like you don't put your effort in the way you used to, performance gets impacted, and people start to notice. And that's just at work. And if it's really affecting you, then you're taking it home and it's starting to, impact your people and your relationships at home and maybe your health internally. But what you really want is the next chapter, right? You want the next upswing, the next S-curve. So you're learning and growing again. You're expanding, you're having an impact. And what people are challenged with is figuring out how to get from the top of this S-curve onto the next upswing. So one is what is the next upswing, and two, how to get onto it seamlessly. So what I ask for you right now is just in your notebooks, take a sort of a reflection now. Where are you at on that S-curve? What is the next upswing for you? Do you know what your next upswing is? And do you know how you're going to get onto it? And if you don't know, how's it affecting you right now? Even if you're in the amber zone, you haven't hit the red zone yet. How is it impacting you right now? I'd invite you to just comment on that. Take it into your notes, or if you want, share it in the chat box with me so I can get a gauge on where people are at on the call today. Think about what your current reality is, right? I'd like you to, now that you have a picture view of what that is in your mind on that S-curve, I'd invite you to really think about, how does that make you feel? So if you're thinking about where you're at, I want you to write down some feelings about what that makes you feel. And if you don't have a plan for the future, the desired reality that you want, how is that going to make you feel? If you haven't done anything about this in 3 months' time and you're still dealing with whatever you're dealing with right now, what does that mean for you? Drowning. Yeah, I feel your age. Not enough hours, absolutely time poor, not giving enough to family, and anxious. The things we're going to talk about today are going to address those sorts of things. So thank you so much for sharing. You're somewhere between growing, Aileen, great, and on the plateau. So you're in the perfect zone to actually be deciding consciously what's next for you. Fear of missing out, fear of failure, absolutely. Natural fears, normal fears. Feeling excited and learning. Oh, that's incredible. Lucky to be able to manage your own risks associated with job changing. That's just epic. Love to hear that. Having a plan, working the plan, right? So where we're at, let me just share some truths about that, right? So if you're in this gold circle, right, even if you want to go from good to great, or you're feeling like you're drowning, or you're stuck and can't figure out what that next upswing, thanks, Rebecca, what that next upswing is, you want the dream, right? You want to be able to live your life in a way that is feeling really aligned with who you really are, and you have purpose and meaning in what you're doing, and there's congruency there. And you want to be able to reach and fulfill your highest potential, see what you're really capable of, right? And without all of that noise in your head and the self-sabotage that goes along with it. And then to be able to effortlessly receive for the value that you bring without any of those limits that block you and stop you from that. There are 3 shifts that need to happen to get there, and I'm going to share those with you today. The first shift is to go from misalignment to having clarity about your direction, being on purpose, so really knowing what your purpose and gifts and special genius is, and to feel that alignment. So you know the direction ahead of you is the one for you. The second one is to be able to stop using hit and miss strategies that may or may not work and don't give a consistent result for you, or they give you at best yo-yo results, so that you have a way of, with certainty, what are the steps and what's your roadmap for that? And how are you focusing your attention and energy and flow and stepping into your power to create consciously your life that you really want the way you want it? And the third shift is for you to let go of self-sabotage, to be able to recognize what it is for you, how your unique set of patterns are and how they show up for you, and to be able to let them go. So you step into your confidence, you build your momentum effortlessly, and you receive the results, you achieve the results, you get to experience your career and your life the way you really want it to. So what we're going to dig into now is self-sabotage, what it is, and why we do it, and then how you can ditch it, right? So let me share that with you. For some of you, the strategies that you're running, you may not have a conscious awareness of what they are. Most people don't. Most people are living out of their unconscious programming and conditioning, thinking that if they just keep pushing harder and trying to overcome that, they're going to do it. Maybe that you're realizing, though, that this thinking is actually something that's blocking you. Self-sabotage is when you're, some symptoms of it, maybe you're procrastinating, or maybe you have feelings of imposter syndrome. Maybe you have self-doubt. Maybe you're thinking you have to be perfect to start, or when you do things, they've got to be perfect, so you never quite finish. Or maybe you have to be the good girl, right? You have to do what everybody else expects of you all the time. Or maybe you have to be the rescuer or the people pleaser and stepping in and doing everything for everybody else and burning yourself out. Or this one, martyring yourself, right? This is about you sacrificing you, not putting yourself even on the list, let alone top of the list, right? Or hiding, minimizing yourself, being small, avoiding. Or maybe you're doing the opposite. You're so high achieving that you're burning yourself out, and that mask you're wearing that's covering up that this toll is really heavy on you. Or maybe you're feeling lonely at the top, right? Or maybe you're doing everything to try and control. Anxiety shows up when people are trying to control everything around them. It's a symptom of that. These are the kinds of things, and the hero, these are the kinds of symptoms of self-sabotage. And when you get to recognize your unique set of that, and you shine a light on that, and you have the skills and the techniques to move away from that and towards creating a life you love, you vaporize that. It goes away, right? I'm going to talk about what that is in a moment. Some of those strategies you might have been telling yourself that you do some of them or all of them, or anywhere in between, right? Often we're doing them to avoid what we fear most. Someone said before, fear of failure. That's definitely a big fear. There's 3 universal fears: fear of not being good enough, fear of not belonging, fear of rejection, and fear of not being loved. So fear of failure often comes along with fear of being judged. And then fear of being judged is the precursor for being rejected and not being lovable. So the 3 universal fears. Or you may be telling yourself the story that some of these strategies actually serve you in some way, and you go with it because it feels good in the short term. But in the long term, the big picture, what happens is you're crumbling on the inside. And like I said, you're wearing this mask and it's starting to get some cracks in it. That's self-sabotage, and it's stopping and blocking you from living your best life, from fulfilling your highest potential, from really sharing your brilliance. Now, to understand this, what it is and how it works, I want to share with you 4 aspects of your consciousness, because it's what you feed your subconscious mind that actually determines how your results are in the world, right? What you get to experience in your world. The first aspect is your unconscious mind. This is your mind's filter, right? This is where all of those programs, when you started growing in utero even, and then as a young child, and the first 5 to 7 years of your life, forming these deep beliefs about who you are, how others are, how the world is, and it's all stored there unconsciously. So you don't have ready access to that. The second aspect is all of that information that comes to you before it goes through your mind's unconscious filter, right? This is your higher consciousness. This is the greater consciousness. And some may call it intuition. This is sometimes you know things, you don't know how you know them, you just have a sense that you know them. And then you've got your conscious mind. This is your will. This is about 5% of what you're actually aware of. And this is your opportunity to choose, right? Your conscious mind gives you the opportunity to choose. Do I do this or do I do that? But if you're not aware of what your unconscious programs are, then you can't use your conscious mind to make a choice about what you do next, because unconscious programs operate on autopilot. And all 3 of those aspects of your consciousness has the capacity to inform your subconscious mind. And what you tell your subconscious mind, it says yes to. The problem is, if you're only informing your subconscious mind from your conditioning and your programming that sits in your unconscious mind, then you're only going to get what your programming tells you that you want. Even if what's in your subconscious mind are your deep-seated beliefs that you're not worthy, not good enough, you have to be perfect, you're invisible. There's a whole plethora of them. So even if those programs, those beliefs don't serve you, it's constantly feeding your subconscious mind, and your subconscious mind says yes to that and delivers that. So that's what self-sabotage is. You almost get there and your subconscious mind says, whoa, hang on a minute, you can't have that. You can't be good enough. You can't be worthy, because if you are, then that belief that I have inside me will cease to exist. And if that ceases to exist, then who am I? Because what is important to understand here is all those beliefs that you have stored in your unconscious mind, it's your identity, right? You've started formulating your identity from when you're a little child. And your identity is essentially your ego. And if your ego feels threatened, so if the threat is you're almost going to be good enough, you're almost going to have that result that you really want, the ego says, wait, you can't have that, because then my belief about myself that I'm not good enough would cease to exist and I can't have that. Ego sounds the alarm, right? And says, I'm going to do something to prove that that belief still exists. So we stop ourselves at the last minute from having what we really want, from living the life that we really want. We recede from that. You know, like there were 160 or 70 people that accepted this LinkedIn invitation. 100 odd people registered to attend today in the Zoom. And how many? There's 30 of you online today. I just want to acknowledge that. So there may have been occasions where you had a thought that, oh, maybe I won't turn up today. Maybe I've got other important things to do. That is self-sabotage. That is getting in the way of you creating your dream. But you showed up today, and I really just want to acknowledge you because you called it out, right? You have the capacity to do this for yourself. And what we're going to talk about now is how. So let me illustrate this in a diagram, right? That filter above your mind is your unconscious programming, right? And it's made up of all those things that I just shared, your beliefs, your values, your experience. It's shaped over the course of your life. And what that does is it acts as your mind's filter to let in only about 2 million bits of information at any 1 second. And information's coming at you all the time, right? All the time. And the filtering system is there to make sure that your mind can handle all that information. But what it does is it filters out all of that rest of that information, right? The 400 billion bits of information. And then you decide that you want something new for yourself. You want a vision. But what you're doing is you're only creating that vision of success from within that 2 million bits of information. And remembering that your mind's filter only lets in what validates your beliefs, right? Just let that land. Let that point land. If you have a belief that you are unworthy of success, you are only going to create a vision that validates that you are unworthy of success. The key here is to be able to learn how to get beyond that, beyond your programming, beyond your self-sabotaging systems of your mind, to understand what your truth is, what your purpose is, what your aligned path is, and to give yourself the tools necessary to move towards it every single day, because we create a life we love with every single action every single day. And it's the commitment to yourself that comes first to that you want that. That's so important to understand right now. Okay. Anyone taking away, it's getting some aha moments, taking this away right now? I just want to make sure that you're picking up what I'm putting down here. It's really important to understand that. I'm going to show this with an elastic band, okay? Give you a visual on this. Imagine you've got this stretchy elastic band. Everyone can see this. And over on this side of the elastic band is the vision that you are creating for yourself, right? Sorry, is the belief that you want to resolve within yourself, right? This is about you saying, inside me, I feel like I'm not good enough or I'm not worthy. And maybe on the conscious level, you're thinking, I've got to do the right thing. I want to do something worthy. I want to do something really good for humanity. Or I want to be really successful. I want to make a really big impact. I want to level up my influence so people hear me, right? And that's the thing you're trying to resolve. You want to be heard, you want to be seen, you want to feel good. And so you set this goal, this vision that you're going to create this amazing career, or you're going to do these amazing things to prove that you're worthy or you're good enough, right? And so you try really hard and you do all this effort to try and fix this part about you, to make this part about you go away so it doesn't exist anymore. And you try really hard, but as soon as you take your mind off it or your foot off the pedal, it snaps back. And you see those old programs come up again, and self-sabotage happens and you never quite achieve the result, right? That is self-sabotage. And what I share with you now is the opportunity to say, I want to shift my focus. Rather than putting my focus on the problem, trying to fix the problem about myself, even if you don't realize that that's what you're doing, if you're only creating a vision from within those 2 million bits of information, that is what you're doing. to be able to now shift your focus to your true path of alignment, your true purpose, to be able to identify what that is, and then recognize where you are right now, right? Recognizing that you've got this vision ahead of you and it's true for you. It's not a false negative vision, which was what this earlier example was. This is a true vision for what you want for your life, for how you really want to live your life and experience your career in it. And you're here and you pull back that elastic. What happens to the elastic? It moves towards the result that you want, not sabotaging you. It's a really important concept to understand here. It's stopping and thinking how I'm identifying, and getting in my own way. That's exactly right, Zoe. Going in and out of the zones. I'm in the yes, positive, conscious, and then fall into the negative. That's because you're human, Rebecca. I love it that you're aware of that, though. And when you equip yourself with the discipline around that, and there's simple strategies to do around that, it's really effective to keep you aligned on that path, to make sure that the choices you're making are your true aligned choices, not false negative choices, which is what the earlier example, when your choices and what you're wanting to achieve are anchored in resolving parts of your identity, those programs that I talked about, they will always result in self-sabotage. So the key is to be able to get beyond that, as I showed with that diagram earlier. What I'd love to invite you to do right now, is to just take a moment to reflect on this. Where are you now around self-sabotage? What is it for you that's going on? And how do you want it to be? And write it down, right? Step into the emotion of it. Write the feelings, because if you're only thinking about it, you're still in information gathering, right? If you want transformation, you have to feel how it is for you right now. And you have to feel into how you want it to be and why you want it. Just take a moment now to do that, ladies. And if you want to, I'd love you to share that with me in the chat. Important to understand what you want and how to get it. That's exactly right. And the road may not be a straight line, that's right. But the important thing is that you're on the right path, right? So many people have a visual, and I've talked to many people about this, that they feel like they've been climbing up this ladder and they've got almost to the top of this ladder, and then they realize that the ladder is on the wrong building. Or they've been climbing up a mountain and they're almost at the top, and then they realize they want to be on that mountain over there, and then they have no idea how to get there, and it's really scary and it feels like a big gulf in between. So it's really important to understand the path of alignment is that first key stage. Actually, what I'm going to share right now too is, if you are taking away from this, that, how do I do it? There are so many women out there that have gone this journey before you, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that in a moment. But what they've done is followed 3 key shifts. As I said before, those 3 shifts to make. The first shift is, I summarize it to be the strategy. The second shift is using the right system. And the third is to acquire the right skills and to put them into place. So let me talk about that. When you don't have strategy, you don't know what you want, you're unclear perhaps, or maybe you're feeling stuck and you're self-doubting and you're disengaged. And this path of misalignment perpetuates that. When you have a strategy, though, when you're really clear, the things we focus on are about getting your mindset clear and your energy aligned. And what this is discovering what your patterns are of your unconscious mind that have been keeping you stuck. So you know your starting point, and you can be aware when they show up, and you are equipping yourself with how to get past them every single time. You have discovered what your path of alignment is and what your purpose is, and you feel connected with that. You're not just thinking you know it, you feel it emotionally. And the emotions is what keeps propelling you forward. And you may have heard this before, you don't remember what people tell you, but you remember how they made you feel. That is what drives you towards your vision. The third aspect of your strategy is creating that true vision. Like I said, not false negative visions you think you want based on what your learned expectations of you are, or what other people want of you, or trying to resolve part of your identity, right? This is a true vision, and creating that is really important and powerful. Some of my past clients, I'm not going to go into their stories, but you can see on my website more about these amazing women who have gone the journey before you and have recognized that they need to make shifts within to be able to materialize the shifts that they want in their outside world. The second aspect is the system. If you don't have a system, then you don't know the steps, right? And it can result in lack of certainty, confusion, procrastination, stalling, because if you don't know what to do, you don't do anything. Or if you do, maybe you do the hit and miss strategies, and that is a game of chance. And like I said, if you're at this point in your career, you probably don't want to take too many chances at this point. And you certainly don't want yo-yoing results. That was that elastic band stretching you as far as you can before you snap back to old ways and old results. Or wasted time and effort, right? Who can afford that these days? So getting rid of the hit and miss results by using a systematic approach to expand your possibilities, right? This is really seeing what can be possible for you. Once you know your path of alignment, how do you turn that into sharing it and monetizing it and making a clear decision, and then building out your roadmap, building out your activation plan and all the things that are associated with that, including your message. You know, what are you trying to say to people? How do you even introduce yourself to let people know who you are, what you stand for, where you're headed, and so you can attract the right kind of opportunities and people into your world? It's really important to be succinct and aligned with that. The third aspect of how to create this dream for yourself is the skills. As I said, you know, there's plenty of other women who have gone before you, Ariana and Molly, amazing. I just wanted to share with you about Molly. Molly didn't know what she wanted to do, but she wanted harmony within her career and her life. She was a new mum. And so through the journey that she took with me, she actually wrote her own job. She crafted out what she really wanted based on a path of alignment for her, and she equipped herself with the skills around influencing and advocacy, and she pitched it. She's doing that job now. She's got the balance. She's got the days that she wanted to work. She's got the recognition of title. She's got the people who she loves working with. She's leveraging her skills and passions. It's totally possible. Before she started this journey, she was about to quit and just stay at home with her new child. So now she's loving where she's at. Without the right skills, you miss out on those opportunities. Maybe you don't even see them as possibilities. Certainly not turning them into probabilities for you. The low confidence is there because you don't know how to do it or where to start. And this impacts your credibility, your progression, and your prosperity. And that is where self-sabotage keeps kicking in. If you are only creating your vision from what you already know, you are only going to recreate another version of that. You've got to be able to get beyond that. And that's where the skills are really important. One, to be able to connect with people effortlessly and the right people and opportunities, to be able to speak about yourself with confidence and advocate for yourself, to be able to influence. Learning about human behavior is really powerful, and this is something that is what is critical if you want to be able to influence so you can have the impact that you want. The next skill is around recognizing, releasing, and recoding your mindset. This is recognizing when those patterns come up, knowing how to release them, knowing how to recode and reorient towards the direction so you keep moving forward. You build momentum rapidly and you get the results that you want. The system is what is important here. The mindset that goes with it is incredibly important. It's foundational. So these are the things that I've shared with so many of my clients. It's what I wanted to share with you today. One, the first concept, which is how we create self-sabotage, how we keep doing it to ourselves, and why it's really important to be able to get beyond the limits of your mind so you can create your true path of alignment. And the second is, once you do that, how do you do that, right? Once you know that this exists, how do you actually get on with it using a systematic approach? So let's focus on you right now. I've shared with you some key concepts about how to do this for yourself. I just want you to do a little bit of a traffic light assessment of yourself to make sure that you really know what are you actually winning in, kicking some goals in, and what do you need to work on, and what would you need help with, right? Everybody, I've got to say this too. I have a coach. I have had several coaches actually over my journey, whether they're from personal or business relationships, to be able to tap into my unconscious programs to recognize when they're at play. They are called unconscious for a reason because we're not aware of them and when they're at play. And to use the tools and resources to dig into them is what's important for you to unlock that box, right? To be able to allow yourself to access what's beyond them so you can live consciously, not unconsciously. Okay. Anyone got any comments or would like to share? Did they have mostly greens or ambers or reds in their self-assessment there? I'd love to know. Just let me know. And maybe a show of hands. Did anyone have lots of greens? What about ambers? Is there a few ambers? Mostly ambers? What about the reds? The people in the red zone here. Red zone, yeah. Okay, thank you for checking in with yourself and sharing that with me. It's really important to understand understand that where are we now? Because you can't create what's next if you don't know what your starting point is, right? And let me share with you, it is the bouncing off point. It does not define you. It's just where you're starting from. So I really want you to understand that. Amazing. It's really empowering. Let's turn your mind to the dream, right? What do you really want? Do you really want to live the kind of life that you've been dreaming about? Just write some of those comments down in your workbook. And if you would love to, I'd love to share in the chat, what's your dream? What would you really love? 2 or 3 words that would describe epicness for you in your dream career and life. Because if you can't see it in your mind, you won't have it in your hands. And starting to get clear and letting yourself, setting an intention that you want to now receive a most inspiring vision of your dream career and life, it starts there. So just take some time now to do that. Set your intention around that. Really powerful stuff here. What I've shared with you today is that your mindset has been instrumental and continues to be instrumental in shaping your results. It is the cause. If you're feeling misalignment, it is the cause of the misalignment. Because if you want something in your heart and it hasn't yet showed up in your hands, you have beliefs blocking you. And the path, someone said this to me very early on in my career and in my coaching journey, what's in the way is the way, right? What is in the way is the way. So the cause of misalignment is mindset. It's the cause of your self-sabotage. It's the cause of your yo-yoing or lack of the results that you want. The second lesson we've explored today is that you have to get beyond your limits to be able to create that path that you really want for yourself. And I would love to be able to share that with you. I have shared with you the third lesson, which is the system. This is how we do it, right? There is a system to it. I didn't have this system when I did it. 7 or 8 years ago, when I was at the height of my corporate career, doing a massive role, project managing the design of a future state organisation for a massive oil and gas company. And then my next role was to project manage the reduction of the workforce into the new operation size. So if anyone is in major project construction, 5,000 odd employees down into about 2,000 to 2,500 employees. And I had to deliver that in about 18 months. That was the hollowing out of my career. I was feeling very much like my soul was being sucked out of me doing that to people. I wanted to help people. I wanted to give what I knew and what my inspiration and skills were to help people live their best life, because that's what my mission is, to live my best life. And that's why I've developed this system. So what I share with you now, the line in the sand, now that you know this stuff about your consciousness, now that you know that there is a way to get you from where you are to how you want things to be, what is your decision? What are you going to do about that, right? What are you going to do with that information now? Are you still going to gather more information, or are you going to do something with it, right? What I shared with you earlier was that I would invite those of you who want to have a chat with me about this. I would invite you to a call with me. Tanya has been, I think she's dropped a call link in the chat, or we'll just drop the call link in the chat so that you can book a call with me and share. We can explore what it is going on for you in your world and what do you need help with. I've shared a system that covers off those 3 shifts to make. And maybe you've got some of that in place. Like we said, some people had the ambers. I don't think there were many people in the green zone there. And there were a few people in the red zone. What do you need help with, right? And what are you going to do about that? Are you going to keep going it alone, or are you going to do something with that? I'm going to invite you now to get back into your breakout groups. So Tanya's going to press go on those breakout rooms again and just explore with each other. What have you learned today? What's your takeaway? What are you loving about what you're learning, or what shifts you're making within yourself? And what are you going to do with that? When we express it out aloud, we build accountability, right? So let's get into those breakout groups and really dig into this for yourselves lately. Ladies, share what it is you're loving, you're learning, and you're taking away from today. Lovely to have you back. I'm sure there were some wonderful shares in the breakout groups there, and I'm going to actually just address one of the questions that came up in the chat. And then I'm going to open it up to really explore what you're loving, learning, and acting on from today with anyone who'd like to do that with me. The question came up, Gisela, thank you for it. What happens when you need to rely on, or you're relying on others to change their behaviours or do something different in order for you to have the kind of career or life that you want? And I've got to share with you, one, it's a belief that you need to rely on others. And two, when you are relying on others, you're giving your power away. You're doing the hit and miss strategy of waiting, wishing, hoping that things around you are going to get better so you can get better, or you can feel better, or you can have what you want. And when you're able to move beyond that and let go of that self-sabotage, because that's what that is, it's opting in and living from that belief that others need to be a certain way for you to be okay. And there's, I dive into a lot around beliefs in the journey I take people through. And that's a rules belief. It's one of the beliefs that we have. Your career is a vehicle belief, a vehicle that that for you to express who you are. So it is a belief, and the flip happens when you start to step back into your power, that actually you have a choice. We always have a choice, and inaction is still a choice. So really stepping into that and understanding what belief is at play and how you developed that belief, and then equipping yourself with the mechanisms to be able to let it go and move into your power to take aligned action with your true path, right? Now, that is going to mean that fears pop up. Your ego feels there's a risk because you're moving into unfamiliar territory, and it's requiring courageous conversation. So there's a lot that goes with that, Gisela, and it's very common. I'm really grateful that you asked that question, because so many people are giving their power away, right? I'd love to hear from people. What I'm going to ask you to do is to raise your hand if you have a share or a question that you want to talk about what I've shared with you today. I'd love to know, what's your biggest takeaway from today? What have you loved, or what have you learned? And what would you like to do about that? Let's be brave, ladies. Don't know if anyone popped in the chat box there. Viola, thanks, Viola. Let's just take yourself off mute there. Press unmute, and I'd love to.
Sorry, that took me a second. I just want to share something I really loved, and I shared with the group earlier. The first few slides where you were showing the curly lady with all the questions and all the thoughts, and then all the things that you've been told. Like, I think those couple of slides were really, really powerful and really relatable. As in, self-sabotage sometimes looks one way to us, but then we look at it and it's really a lot of things, and it can materialize in very different ways. So I thought it was very eye-opening.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm so glad you got that value from that, those shares, Viola, because that's exactly what it is. When you don't have an awareness of what your version of self-sabotage is, you continue to live unconsciously from it, and you continue to replicate the results because of it, right? The same, maybe it's a slightly different shade of grey, but it's the same because you're using the same programming. And it's so powerful. And it addresses Gisela's question before. It's so powerful when you recognize it, you shine a light on it, you vaporize it, you gain your power back, and then you go forward courageously to do what you really want in your life, in your career. I think, Nicole, I loved your comment. You really want to do something powerful for this planet, right? Help people protect our planet. I have worked with so many women in the mining, construction, energy, and oil and gas. They're my corporate career background. And to help people take what they have learned through their career and their passions and meld that into creating valuable contributions for people in our planet. It's so fulfilling. I get the absolute joy out of it, but they do too. So I love that you shared that too. Was there anyone else that wanted to share? I wasn't sure that somebody else put their hand up. Aileen, yes, please take yourself off mute. Thanks, Viola. Appreciate your share.
Okay. I think I do know some of my unconscious bias against myself. I have been working by myself, trying to work through that. I think one of them, the biggest one, is I always feel like I'm not good enough. And so sometimes I don't often reach out for that job that I thought I might like doing. And then after that, you just carry on doing business as usual in your current role. And it's not so bad because usually you still get rewarded, recognized at that level. But deep down, somewhere inside, you go, is that it? Or what's next? And how do you stay relevant, especially in today's changing world? Like the last thing you want to do is 5 years from now, you find you're on the dinosaur heap asking, oh, maybe I should have taken a different turn. So I'm trying to avoid that, especially when I'm coming towards, I don't know, the last really good 10, 15 years of my career remaining before, hopefully I get to retire and take a really nice holiday, And by the way, I'm working for the money at the moment, really, to pay for the holidays. Actually, that's it from me.
I love what you're sharing. And there are a lot of people out there who feel like they need a break from their life rather than creating a life that they love, right? So, and I love what you shared too. I really appreciate that, because what you shared is actually demonstrating that your goals and all your activity is anchored in resolving part of your identity, fixing part of yourself to feel good enough. And that's why it's hard work, or you feel like underneath something's missing, because it's not the path of alignment. That's exactly a really great example of demonstrating what I was sharing before. When you discover and connect with that path of alignment, your true path, what you are destined to create for yourself in your life, beyond your programming and your conditioning, your learned versions of success, you get to create something really powerful for yourself. Really appreciate your share there, Aileen.
Thanks.
Momo, I think we've got, Momo's got a hand up as well. Lovely to see you again, Momo. Let's take you off mute there.
Yeah, it's great to see you. Can you believe it's almost like a year and a half ago since we started?
Oh, it's amazing. It's lovely to see you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, so I was just want to share that I can see so much that through your slides, that what was I thinking when I first had those thoughts. And now that I look back, I was like, oh my God, that is such different mindset now. So I just feel very grateful that I found you and you helped me through those tough times. And I still remember that when I first started, I told you that I just wanted to apply for the awards, and I couldn't believe that I actually went to the finalists. And it just, since that moment, and everything started to seem possible. And even that I have struggles and soul searching of my career, and I even go through those red zones, and I go to the sloping downside, and I still like, yes, I am good enough. It's not about me. It's about others. And I know my skills. I have confidence. I need to do what I want to do. And I made the biggest decision in my whole career that I've never done before, is I quit my job without another offer in the line. And then I landed the job that I never even can dream about. And now I'm living the dream, enjoying my life, and doing the work exactly what I want. And my boss couldn't be more supportive, because I remember I showed you that I was like, oh, I only like 30% of my job for now. Do I have to suffer for the rest of 70%? And now my boss only like, what do you want to do? Let's give you 100% of doing what you want to do. So I just want to say that, ladies, everything is possible. You just have to believe yourself.
Momo, that's just an incredible message for these ladies to hear, because I can tell them all of that. And maybe part of you, you might be saying, yeah, I want to come on this journey. Your courageous steps forward, like you said, 18 months ago, and I see Amra's on the call here too with us too. These ladies, they've taken the steps. They've said yes to themselves. I'm so grateful that you showed up today, which is just amazing to share with these, which, that it does take courage, right? And there's so much going on within you that you don't even know is there, that causes that conditioning to make you think you need to live a certain way. And when you start to reveal that about yourself to yourself, you empower yourself to do something with it, to do something different, to step into your conscious mind, not live unconsciously anymore, to bring your conscious awareness to those limits and programs that stop you and block you and self-sabotage you, and step into your power and your truth and your path of alignment. I couldn't have said it better, Momo. It's really wonderful to hear from you today. So thank you for sharing with these other ladies.
Well, thank you so much for the whole journey. It's like a lifetime lesson, and I'll keep developing based on all the information that I've learned from you. So thank you.
Now we've got one more hand up here, Amra. I'd love to hear from you, and maybe the other ladies would like to hear from you too. Let's take you off mute there.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Hi, Janine. Again, one of those grateful ones. So it's my 3rd week, next week, in a new job, in a new role, different company. So I don't think I would be brave enough to make that step without you being there and coaching me through it and me understanding what I want. I'm not sure I am in my ideal role yet, but that's okay. And I'm fine with that. The road is not a straight line. And that's probably the biggest share I wanted to do today, is that it may not be a straight line. It may be, a few diversions. But what's really important is to make a step towards it. I'm definitely in a company that has the values aligned to my values. And they're definitely very much about making the environment what's better for the environment, and very focused on that. They're still searching for their place in the commercial world, I would say, but they're very supportive of my ideas. And, whatever I contribute, it's valued. And, 2 weeks being there, it's, when you feel valued in a 2nd week, it's absolutely amazing.
That's so wonderful, Amra. And just to give context to the other ladies, you were in your previous employer, with your previous employer for some years, right?
19 years.
19 years. That's a big, courageous step to move forward, having made those realizations and stepped away from what wasn't working and really put the work in to discover within yourself. You made massive shifts on the journey within yourself and in your life to bring that joy. I'm just so happy for you, Amra. It's so wonderful, and it's lovely to see you here. So thank you for joining and also to share with you, the truth of the journey. It takes courage, right? It takes courage to say yes to me. I'm worth it. And that actually is the message I want you to take away from today, ladies, that whether you come and have a chat with me or you take this journey in some other form or with me, whichever, the journey starts with you saying yes to you, having the courage to say, you know what, I recognize that I've been putting myself on the bottom of a long list, maybe even not even on the list. And now it's time to say, yes, I'm worth it. I believe that I'm worth it. And I'm going to do something that affirms that, right? Because saying it and not behaving it, actions speak louder than words, right? So do something about it for yourself, ladies. I'm so pleased. So let me just share with you, ladies, like I said, I don't know why you showed up today. I don't know what was said in those groups, but I'm sure there's a really good reason. Maybe you're feeling stuck, perhaps overlooked. Maybe you're ready for that next level of growth. Maybe you're really seeking more meaning and purpose, and you've got some heartfelt desire to use your skills and passions in a way that makes a really big difference. Or maybe you're feeling like what you've been doing is out of sync with who you really are. And maybe you'd like to explore more deeply about who you really are so that you can choose a path in alignment with you, rather than you continuing to align yourself to the path, right? That's the biggest shift. Whatever it is, you've arrived at this crossroads, you've got a choice. You can keep doing it in whatever way you've been doing it, or you can start to say, well, actually, there is a system, there is a way that I can do this, there is a way that gets me on the path that's going to be the aligned path and the one that helps you create the kind of career and life that you would really love. And equip yourself, right? The purpose of whatever I do in my coaching is to give you the skills for you to keep doing this for yourself. Right, that's what's really powerful. And I think what I heard from Momo and from Amra is that equipping yourself with those skills has been instrumental to keep moving in the direction that you want. Even though you might not be in the programs with me at the time that you're making those decisions, it's after. I had another call yesterday from a client who was probably earlier in the journey than both of you ladies, And she made another big realization and another big shift in her. She's now becoming a coach, actually. And she just rang me in celebration that she'd made that decision and she's on the journey, and she wanted to recognize the pivotal change in her life from the time in the journey with me. So I understand where you're at. I have been in that situation of either, thinking about it, worried about what I should be doing, what's next, having responsibilities. At the time that I made this decision, I was separating in my marriage also. So not only was I in that place in my career, my health was definitely debilitating myself. I was in burnout mode, and I had 2 young children, so a 6-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. So I really needed to get my stuff sorted, right, to take care of my life. So it can feel scary at the time. I know that. But the question for you is, how do I do this for myself? So like I said earlier, there's choices we make and there's consequences from our choices. And inaction is also a choice to make. And if you want to explore this, I'm inviting you now to book the call with me. There are a few spots. I've got some spots today. I think I opened up calendar for tomorrow for a couple of sessions and through on Monday and Tuesday, just to really chat more deeply about where you're at, what your needs are, what's going on for you. And let me share that if you're still in information gathering mode, if you don't really want transformation, you're sort of just figuring out, do I really want this or not? If you think people are who they are and they can't grow and learn and you're not open to that, or you're happy with things how they are, right, then please don't take one of the spots. Leave them open for the people who really do want transformation, who are ready to explore this more deeply. On the call, what we'll do is 3 things. 1, dive into where you're at. Right, we're going to take a deep dive into what's going on for you, and we want to uncover what your biggest success blocker is, right? What it is in your belief systems or other things going on that you feel or believe to be blocking your success, and then work with you on working out what could be possible for you in the next 90 days, right? What would you like to achieve for yourself? And setting yourself up as a foundation for the bigger picture, the dream life, right? The dream career and lifestyle that you want for yourself. Accessing beyond your current thinking, beyond the setting a vision that's based on, fixing some part of you, but this is actually setting your truth, discovering your truth and teaching you how to do that over and over again. Because, once you achieve the goal that you set for yourself, or the goals, the dream, you're going to want more. And teaching yourself, equipping yourself with how to keep going in that direction is where the power is. So if this is for you, let me recap the things that we've explored today. The system covers these 3 key things, and these are the shifts to make, remembering to get you beyond your current thinking and into your genius zone, using a strategy to do that, right? Having the strategy around your mindset, getting you beyond what your current mindset is, and bringing into alignment your path to who you really are, so you have that clarity for yourself. The second is to equip yourself with some things, right? This is the system. This is how do you explore and expand your possibilities to create your true choices? How do you develop and build your roadmap so you know where you're going and you've got the certainty around the steps to take, and how to make sure that your message and your marketing, your branding of yourself, whether you're employed or entrepreneurial, it doesn't matter. You've got to be able to talk about yourself in a way that lands with who you want to connect with, right? That's really powerful. And so many people I know don't even know how to introduce themselves so that lands with people, right? They just share what their name is and what their job title is. So really being clear about your marketing, your message of who you are, your brand is super powerful. And the third thing that we talk about and discover for you is the skills. Is it the skills that you need to recognize and release and recode your programs, your conditioning and mindset and energy? Is it the skills to connect with people effortlessly? Some people find it really difficult to network, and it's usually their beliefs that are in the way, right? Beliefs about themselves that gets in the way of connecting effortlessly with people. Is it influencing and advocating for yourself? But influencing is really powerful. If you don't have a strategy to influence people, then you will get hit and miss results. And, is that going to be the thing that sustains your momentum? Probably not. But you want momentum and confidence. So the skills are really important. If you are ready for this, ladies, I invite you now to book the call. If you have already, I think I've just seen a notification of somebody booked in already, which is amazing. And there were some comments earlier of people booking in. So I hope that you've done one of those. These spots are only available over the next few days. And like I said, it's not for people who are just looking for information. This is for people who actually want to do something with what I've shared with you today. Whether you end up coming to work with me or not, it doesn't matter. It's about you taking the next step and getting your career strategy clear, right? Understanding what's your blocker, understanding what's possible for you, and what are your next steps over the next 90 days. So if you're serious about that and you're tired of putting yourself at the bottom of the list and you want to be at the top of the list so that you can give from your full cup, right? We can't keep giving to everybody else from an empty cup. We've got to be able to fill our own cup, and this is the pathway to do it. I invite you now to do that. This is the link for those who haven't captured the link. Now, and if you're still here on the call with me at this time and you haven't booked your call yet, I've got to ask, what are you waiting for? Are you going to allow self-sabotage to still get in the way of you exploring what's possible for you? You know, like I said, confidence comes with action. Clarity comes with action. Certainty comes with action. You can't learn how to swim if you haven't got in the water yet. So I invite you to do that. For those who have, yay, fantastic. One step closer towards living your dream career and lifestyle, and exploring whether I'm the person who can guide you to help you achieve that for yourself. I would love to do that. I do know what that's like for myself and how scary it can feel when the dream is so much bigger than what you ever thought possible. My partner and I had a dream about 4 years ago that we wanted to have a rolling summer. And so in Australia here, we're here 9 months of the year, and back in June, we'll be heading back over to Greece. Last year was a big year for us. We bought our sailing boat and we spent 5 months of our year living and working aboard, and I was homeschooling my kids at that time. They're back in school now, but they'll be coming again stepping out for a term later this year, because that's what I really wanted, right? I'm a traveler. I'm an adventurer. I love my career. I love being engaged. I love learning. I love connecting with people. I get high vibe from that. And I wanted to do it in a way that worked with me. You know, I could bring it all together. And I was so tired of people telling me that that wasn't possible and it was just a fantasy. And I just wanted to see what was possible for me. So it is totally, truly possible. And as you've heard from some wonderful ladies today, that it is possible. And your version is your version, right? You don't have to, it's not somebody else's version. So that's what the opportunity is here. And I do invite you to think about, from the self-assessments and the reflections that you've had today, which part of this system do you need most help with? Is it the mindset? Is it the recognizing where you're at to be able to create your true aligned path? Is it the skills, how to get your message and your brand and how to build your confidence around that? Is it influencing, right? Do you know that you need to be able to get the message to the right people in a way that lands so you can enroll them in supporting your ideas? Whatever it is for you, let me know. And or maybe actually you can drop it in the chat, you know, of the system that I've shared today. What's the biggest area that perhaps you might need some help with? You're welcome, Maria. Who's taken themselves off mute there? I can't see on my screen. Does somebody want to share? New message. Yeah, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. Unable to book a call, available. Yes, let's do that, Rebecca. We'll catch up and find a time that suits. And ladies, if it is that you've seen in my diary that there isn't times that suit you, please message me or let me know in the chat, and we'll capture your name. So Rebecca, we've taken a note there that we'll find another time to suit, because I would love to explore this further with you. For those of you who are ready and good to go with this, then let's chat. I think it's going to be an extraordinary year. I would love to know if you have loved your time here. I would love, for those of you who haven't got your cameras on, or those that you have, just give me a raise of hands if you've loved what you've shared today. If this has had any enlightening, great. Thanks, Zoe. Thanks, Chia. Thanks, Nicole. Thanks, Gudrun. Yes, amazing. I think it's really important. Thanks, Helena. It's really important to recognise that shifts need to happen within, so that you can have the shifts that you want to materialise in your outside world. So it's been so fabulous being here with you ladies. I know that you, like I said, it's a Saturday morning here and a Friday evening in other places who were dialing in earlier from different places around the world. And this has been an investment of your time, energy, effort, and focus today with me. So I'm really grateful that you chose me as your guide today. And that I'm even more grateful that you chose you to show up today, because that's where it starts. And I invite you to start as you mean to go on, because like I said, you know, how you do the little things is how you do everything. So showing up for you is where it starts, and it's really powerful. It allows you to stop giving your power away and start bringing it within. So you get to be the powerful creator of your life, because let me say this, you are always creating. You are either creating from your egoic identity, so all of those beliefs, unconscious beliefs, or you are creating from your truth, from your path of alignment. Where you place your focus is where you put your power, and that's the result that you get. And that's what we teach. That's what I teach and coach and am passionate about myself. So I would love to share that journey with you and, you know whether or not you're going to be the next one of our amazing success stories. And it's been so wonderful having Momo and Amra on the call today. That was a lovely surprise. Thank you. And for you ladies to hear from somebody other than me about journeys like this, it's really powerful. Once you open that box, life is forever changed, which is for obviously the incredible good. So lovely to meet you all today. I do invite you to join us, whether you're going to join me on a call or whether you want to join as part of our community, because the truth is the world does need women like you to step up, to give yourself permission to shine, to let go of what's been holding you back, so you can serve in your truth with your gifts and talents, so you can bring your shade of brilliance, right? Your color of brilliance to the world, so we can make this a better place, right? And it's not just for the people and planet now, it is for future generations, because what you learn about yourself, what you uncover about yourself, and what you step into for yourself, your power, it ripples out into your family, into your friendship groups, into your workplaces, your community. That's how we make a difference, ladies. And I really do invite you to do that. Like I said, if you haven't booked your call yet, I do invite you. No more time slots. Oh my goodness, we've booked up. Christina, let's take a note. We will find a time. I'll open up another spot for you. It's been so wonderful having you ladies on the call. Claire, thanks for running the session. Got a lot out of today. That's so wonderful, Claire. So great that you've been here today. Thank you, ladies. That's what I have for you today. I would love it to stay connected. Like I said, if you haven't booked your call already, we will do so. So it looks like all of the call slots have been taken over the next few days, which is incredible. We will open up. If anyone else was trying and hasn't been able to get their call, Gudrun, let's make sure, and Helena, let's make sure that we connect after this call. And we've got your email, so I'll shoot you an email so we can exchange phone numbers and make sure that we get on to having this journey, this conversation together and see where the journey takes us, right? So let's explore together. I just want to give you all a big round of applause. I'd love it if you could all take yourselves off mute now, and let's all give each other a round of applause, because I just think the energy that we create when we bring a community together like this is just incredible. So let's do it, ladies. Woo!
Yay! Woo! Thank you.
Thanks.
Really incredible. Have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you online on Zoom. For those who have booked the call and those who haven't got the spot yet, I will make a space for you. We will connect and we'll see each other on Zoom very soon and see where this journey takes us together. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, ladies.